why hasn't they brought it over here?
Okay.
But see, that's the thing. It's like a two-party thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a recovery service. If you give me the permission to take your truck keys, right,
Mm-hmm.
and I take your truck and I never bring it back, who you got to call? Repo company.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You call the police department all day long, they're going to say it's a civil matter.
Right.
Okay. Well, now we have a two-party system. Okay. Mr. Tom Royston's gave me the keys to his truck to bring him to the hospital. Okay. I had possessions after I got him there. I had a traumatic thing. He lost blood. I know you. I told you.
I know what happened.
Okay. So after that, they got him in the back. I sat down. I remember his cell phone was in the truck, so I ran to his truck. I had his keys. And I got his cell phone. I unplugged it from the charger, shut the door, locked it, come back. I hand her the keys to the truck. Okay, my mind wasn't right because I was in protect mode. You understand? Whenever you're doing a call or whatever, that's where you go. So I seen the blood everywhere, brother. So whenever I did that, I handed her the keys, and I handed her the cell phone. I said, "Ma'am, can you please hand this to Tom so I can stay in contact?" Because they wouldn't let me go back here. I understood that. I said, I called it. As soon as I didn't see her, I called it. Hey, Mr. Eddie, I'm doing good. She probably needs some help. But Eddie, I'm doing good. They're supposed to start IV. And I'm okay, just as long as you're back here, you're good. I sat down, I was calmed down. Then all of a sudden, the blood just sat there for like 30, 40 minutes. Okay, then a couple come in. And a couple knew the woman, you know, and all of a sudden I'm a talker. I start talking. Well, the woman seen all the blood, and the woman knew the woman that got injured. She had a gash. No blood was gushing out like my friend was, but it was just they knew each other. So the woman sat down, started having a conversation with me and her, and the husband was filling out the paperwork. Well, whenever I started telling about the service and everything, oh, we got a room. You know, because it took me a while to get him to the back, because he had to sign the clipboard while he was bleeding out. So after that, I voiced my concerns. After I said what I said, I was calm. Okay, then all of a sudden, Donald Flannery come out. Yeah, no, no, I'm saying Donald Flannery come out of the ER because he came there. And he was a patient, and then all of a sudden, we was talking, and while I was talking to him, the woman behind the counter that I gave the cell phone to got her attention, and she walked to the counter and said, checking on Tom or whatever, and then Mr. Tom wanted his keys to his truck and his property.
Okay, have you talked to Tom since then?
Yes.
Okay, what's he said?
I wrote a statement. We have a signed statement, sir. But now they're saying because it's not signed and notarized, it's not good enough.
Does he not have his keys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I don't understand what the problem is.
Okay, after they kicked us out, okay, we had to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Donald gave us a ride home to Tom's house to get my Challenger so she can drive us back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, once that happened, we get back because her purse and stuff is in. The keys and her guns are in her purse. Got it? Then all of a sudden, Tom's getting out of the hospital, and then, I'm calling him. They took his phone and put it on mute. They turned shit off. Then all of a sudden, once we get back, all I did was stick my head in the door. I said, "You're a lying fucking bitch. You stole the keys from my wife."
Okay. I know what happened over that.
Yeah, that's what happened. But then when we got after that, we got in the car. We got her purse and we got in the car and was leaving. We were in motion backwards. The police officer pulled up. That's
okay.
what this
I know
happened.
about that.
Okay.
What I'm trying to get to is the ER wound up with his keys.
Yes.
And then he wound up with his keys.
Right.
Okay, so what are you trying to file charges on?
Stealing the keys from me.
Okay, they're not going to take charges on that.
How's that a two? That's a two-tier.
Because the owner wound up with it.
Well, I understand
okay,
that.
They have to take it. Part of the theft statute is they have to intend to deprive the owner from the joy and use of those keys. Well, he wound up with them. So by the law, there's no harm, no foul.
So anybody can say, "Hey, Joe Blow wants his keys," and you just take the keys and go do whatever you. So that's what you're saying.
What I'm saying
that's
is
what you're saying.
I don't know what happened in the ER.
That's
what I'm
exactly
saying
what
is he wound up with his keys.
But this wound up happening because they did what they did, sir. That's what I'm stating.
I understand, but they gave the owner his keys.
But they took them from the people who was possessions of what he gave me
I
ownership.
understand. I
How's
understand
it
that, but he owns them.
Right,
You
but
do not
it's
own
a
them.
two-tier
The
thing.
whole-
They didn't either, sir.
The whole point, he obviously wound up with them.
They
Edward.
didn't want them. He didn't need them. He stated to them, why do I need my
Okay,
keys?
then he needs to go file charges on them.
No.
You don't, and I'm not trying to be mean, you don't have a dog in the fight. He's the owner.
So whenever somebody borrows a truck from somebody else and they have to call a repo company, I'll tell them the same story. You're the owner. You go file charges against the people because you're the owner. Does that make sense? Or no, you have to hire a repo company, come over and to repo it from the guy who took you gave it to him. You understand? It don't make sense, brother. That's two tiers. That's a two-tiered law system.
You're talking about apples and oranges, Edward. What I'm talking about is, it was his keys,
Yes, sir.
his car.
Yes, sir. I understand that.
He wound up back with the keys.
But in the
Okay?
process of that,
They're saying that he asked for them.
No, he
Is
did
he
not.
saying, I'm not asking
Yes, sir.
you what he
Yeah,
said.
right.
They're saying that he asked for them. Did they not? Okay?
Okay.
That's what they said, correct?
I got video evidence.
Okay, that's fine, but they're saying that he asked for the keys.
Okay.
Okay, that's true, right? That's what they told you.
That's what's.
Okay. They got the keys, however whether they took them or whatever, but somehow he wound up back with them.
Okay. I got
Okay?
that.
So how can I file charges on him when he has these keys?
Because they caused my bodily injury of them kicking me out of the hospital,
That
sir.
part's a civil matter, okay? And it's my understanding you were gonna file a lawsuit.
I can't find an attorney, sir. Nobody wants to touch
Well, you
this
said
case.
you were gonna do it yourself.
It's
There's attorneys all over here. Go see Brennan Mitchell across the street.
yeah, they wanted $4,500 for me for them to walk their butt across the street to get my body camera footage to have my case dismissed, and I did that for nothing. It took me.
That's the criminal case.
That's right. I didn't have a criminal
Okay,
side.
well, this is a civil case that
Right.
you're wanting to file a lawsuit.
Okay.
That should be, most personal injury attorneys are gonna take that on a contingency basis. They're not gonna charge you a dime until you get paid.
Nobody wants to touch it, brother. But
No, I can't help that.
I understand that. But that was my issue. Is that it's a two-tier law system. I can borrow your truck keys and never give them back to you until you hire a repo company to come get them, or to send a JP to come get them for me.
Or I can take them back myself.
Well, that would be in cause of a conflict. Then you can't do that. You can't breach a peace. Do you understand that?
You can take them back, they're yours.
You can't personally.
realize
You can't
you have-
physically take them back
You
from me
realize
unless.
if this is your neighbor and she burglarizes your house.
Right.
You have more of a right getting stuff back than I do as a police officer.
So I would have
I
every
have-
right to go over to her house and
You
just
can go to
walk in her house and
Now,
just
I'm
take
not
it.
suggesting you go break in
That's
and
what I'm
things like
saying.
that.
That's what I'm saying.
You can
So that-
use any means possible where I have to use
Yeah.
search warrants, things like that.
Right, it's a two-tier law system.
But, I don't know where you're getting that word.
Well, I'm
but
just saying that if you gave me the keys and I never brought your truck back to you, you can't do anything unless you want to come beat me up.
Well, what it sounds like is he would be filing charges against you for taking his keys.
But he gave them to me to bring him to the hospital.
Okay, and he wound up back with them.
But that was my
So how
ride.
has
That
he
was
been-
that
how
was
has
my
he been-
ride back to my
How
car.
has he been deprived?
That was my ride back to my car, sir.
Okay, I understand. You're not the owner.
No, my car was at his house to bring him to the hospital because he couldn't fit in a Challenger.
I understand.
It's a two-seat car, sir. Will you stick him in a trunk? I mean, that's what I'm saying. He gave me permission to drive his truck to the place, and then I had possessions of his keys. That is possessions. And then the nurses lied and said that he wanted his keys, and I got a video of the other nurse, the other nurse stating, "Yeah, I took his keys," and blah blah blah. What I'm saying is that why is it a two-tier law system? If I would have went over and took her keys from her, it'd have been different.
It would have been different because you were depriving her
I'm saying,
of
okay,
the keys.
okay. Say if hey, Judy said that she wants your keys. So then you get the keys from there. Then what? Then what? Oh, you're lying because Judy didn't say that. But that's what I'm saying. Judy didn't say that either. Tom didn't say that either. So now it's the same.
Okay, you can keep calling it what you want. Edward, and
Yes, sir.
you know, I've always gotten along. You and I don't have any issues.
I know. I mean, why we're gonna have issues? I'm
Well,
just
that's
saying.
what I'm trying to explain to you.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
not trying to be argumentative.
I'm not arguing.
I'm
just
trying to
saying.
explain to you
The law system,
the way the
your
law
law.
works.
Okay.
Okay, it's not my law.
Well, I mean,
okay?
it's.
But the law works. You have to deprive the owner. He's got them. He's not deprived of them.
But
If he wants to file charges, he can file charges.
in that cause, it caused me injury, sir. I mean.
That part is a civil matter, okay? Which is why you need the attorney to file a lawsuit or file one pro se.
Okay.
But, you know, I understand what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it, okay? It's not gonna happen. You're gonna have to get an attorney to file a lawsuit for what you're trying to do,
Right.
okay? No law enforcement agency, and I can tell you my office right now, if they filed that case, we'd reject it, okay? It didn't deprive the owner of the property.
So you would reject a case if somebody stole a car from somebody borrowed a car from somebody else and they never gave it back to them.
That's a different animal.
How is that a different animal?
Because he wound up back with his car.
I'm talking about just a totally different person. And we're holding. So you're saying if I loan her my truck keys and she never comes back, and I come to you say, hey, I want to file criminal charges against this person, you going to tell me?
I'm gonna tell you that if she's kept it past a certain time, it's unauthorized use.
Okay. Well, if you, normally whenever somebody loans the keys to, they call the cops and say, oh, it's a civil matter, you call the repo company. That's what they tell people every day. They said, we can't do anything about it. It's a civil matter, correct?
They're talking about when you just said, if somebody comes up and says, hey, you can use my car.
Right.
And you're not